Have you ever wondered why that $5,000 Dior jacket looks suspiciously similar to the one you spotted for $300, and it feels very similar too? There are so many little secrets of the fashion houses that don't want you to know that I'll be spilling in today's video. So the first thing that we should get out of the way is luxury is a little bit of a myth. Like, yes, you can pay for a lot of beautiful craftsmanship as well as great design, but you're also paying for really fancy packaging and branding and exclusive store locations and really pricey ad campaigns. So while you think you might be spending a lot of money on your craftsmanship, you're actually spending a small amount of that money on the design and the craftsmanship, and a lot of the money on the branding and the exclusivity and essentially the logo as well. Unfortunately, it's true that just because you're spending a ton of money on an item doesn't mean that you're getting all that value in terms of the craftsmanship. However, on the flip side, you can also spend a lot less whilst getting the same kind of quality and craftsmanship if you know what to look for. So the first thing to know about luxury fashion houses is just because you're buying something from a very expensive brand doesn't mean that you're getting something that was literally made within the walls of Dior HQ or Chanel or Hermes or whatever the brand is. Most of those big brands do employ people in a myriad of different ways. So yes, they will have in-house designers, but they'll also use a lot of freelancers and part-time contractors, as well as specialized ateliers too. And this is true for seasonal collections and accessories, embroidery, bespoke work. There are all kinds of reasons why a fashion house might want to outsource some of their production, and it could also be the case that demand is just higher than they expected as well. It's also true that these specialized ateliers will work for multiple brands, so you won't just have one atelier that is Chanel's and Chanel's only. You will have an atelier that specializes in shoes or embroidery, feathers, beadwork, like whatever it is, and they will do work for multiple fashion houses and multiple labels at a variety of different price points as well. And the most exciting thing to someone who loves fashion but also doesn't like to overpay is that a lot of these creatives also do out of hours work as well. So they do side projects, they consult for smaller labels, produce capsule collections. There are all kinds of ways to really tap into the amazing design work of these very talented designers without paying Chanel Hermes level pricing. My favorite example of this is a platform called Fabrique. I have mentioned them before, but they basically work with small independent designers who work with all of your favorite fashion houses. We're talking the really big heavy hitter players now, and they produce collections with those designers, and there are just the most gorgeous designs. And we're talking everything from dresses through to coats, beautiful tailoring, denim, now accessories as well, because they just launched bags, which is the most exciting thing to me. And you can really get the most amazing top tier high-end luxury designs at a much more affordable price, because they're cutting out all of that excess spending in terms of, you know, the extra branding and the ad campaigns, and really just dialing it into the really beautiful design from these amazingly talented designers, whilst also getting amazing quality as well. And one of my favorite examples of this is the designer who did this beautiful jacket, and you may think it looks very kind of Chanel-esque, and that's because it was created by a designer who literally worked for Chanel. So you really are getting just authentic French style, beautiful construction at an absolute fraction of the price. I also have a beautiful tweed vest as well, which is very Chanel-esque, also designed by the same designer. It is just the most exciting concept to me. I absolutely love it. Sadly, this one is a little bit small for me right now. I will do a try on shot so you can kind of see the overall fit and cut. So even though it's a little bit snug, I do think you get the general gist. It is absolutely gorgeous though. It is fully lined. You have that incredible tweed fabric, and the detail on it, like if you told me this was Chanel, I would 100% believe you, because that's how incredible the tweed and the fabric is. Like, it has so many different colors woven in. There is whites and grays and like a pearly blue gray and creams and ivories. Just the detail on it is absolutely extraordinary. You have these beautiful buttons with a little camellia detail right there. And it is just the most beautiful jacket and so incredibly elegantly done. And this is just a perfect example of a piece which, you know, just looks so much more expensive than it is, and you're getting that same design integrity, incredible garment construction at a fraction of the price that you'd otherwise have to pay. Fabrique were nice enough to partner with me on this video, and they have just launched bags, which I don't think I've ever been so excited for a launch before. So I have 3 of their new styles to share with you, and these are absolutely gorgeous. So first up, I have this beautiful brown suede bag. I do have 3 styles here. All of them were designed by the same designer called Valerie Masai. She's worked at Prada and at Miu Miu, and she was also the former leather goods director at Bottega Veneta, working under Daniel Lee. So safe to say she knows her handbags. and this is absolutely gorgeous. So it has the most insanely smooth and soft suede. Like, it is on another level in terms of how luxurious feeling this is. You have this gorgeous little hardware right there, which is just like quite luxury at its best. You know, it looks like it's just an extremely luxurious, gorgeous bag without being overly flashy at all. You also have feet right there on the bottom, which are this beautiful gold tone, as well as a gorgeous leather trimmed detail right there. You have these fantastic leather straps, which are fully adjustable. And then when you open it up on the inside, you have that wide open space. You do have a pocket right there on the back, and even the interior, it's just so incredibly soft. Despite being a full leather bag, it isn't too heavy at all. It's very lightweight, so extremely comfortable to wear. And then on the back there, you do just have that wonderful pocket with a little magnetic closure. They've thought of everything. It's super secure, and it's just the little details like this that really make you feel like you're just getting an incredibly luxurious bag. Has the Fabrique logo right there. And this is just so sumptuous and gorgeous, and just the ultimate suede bag. Like, I feel like it's so difficult to actually find a suede style that ticks all the boxes, but this is so stunning. It has just the right amount of hardware. It's a beautiful deep brown color, and it's the perfect size. So many hobos, I feel like they're either too big, too small, and it's just difficult to get that in between sizing, whereas this is just absolutely perfect. It is secure with that very strong magnetic clasp as well, and I just absolutely adore this. The second style is this absolutely beautiful, incredible, oversized, smushy style. It is so, so lovely. So this is a grained leather. I always love a grained leather because of how easy it is to maintain. It comes so well packaged. So this is what it looks like without all the packaging, and oh, it's just so lovely. So you have all kinds of details with this bag. It has a nice longer strap, so you can just sling it on your shoulder, which is just perfect for me right now because I definitely need to be hands-free anytime I can be. You have this great kind of like a bag charm tassel right here. So it just looks like a lovely bit of kind of leather detailing, but then you flip it on the other side and they actually include a little mirror within the leather pouch. It is so super clever. You have that tassel detail there to add a little bit of interest, and then it closes with a magnetic closure right there. You also have a little bit of additional leather right there if you wanted to attach it to the straps to have them nice and together and secure. And then on the inside, it's just this absolutely huge, enormous space. You do have a pocket right there too. You have this brown suede inner, but again, despite being a full leather bag, it is very, very light. You do have feet once again. They actually all come with individual feet protectors, which I haven't seen on even my most expensive bags. Like, the attention to detail here is so nice. It's a reinforced base as well, so it's going to be super strong to hold all your items. And it's just so gorgeous and so fantastic, and you can genuinely tell the attention to detail and the quality that's gone into it. And then I do have my last one, which I actually left in the box because I wanted to share with you the unboxing experience. So you do have this huge kind of peach colored box, which does say Fabrique right there. You have all the gorgeous tissue paper and everything. They all come with their own individual dust bags. And this one I'm so excited about. It kind of gives me like Fendi vibes a little bit. It's so beautiful. And this one comes in a whole variety of different textures. I think they do a suede as well. Honestly, I really struggled to decide, but I was practical this time and went for the matte black leather. And it's just so, so beautiful. So it's this kind of almost oversized doctor's bag shape. So when you open it up, like so, you actually have two different flaps because you have two different compartments. So the first one opens this back compartment here, which is actually very, very roomy. You also have two pockets there. You do have a shoulder strap as well, which you can attach. And then that front section is super roomy as well. And you do have a zip pocket with the smoothest zip in the world as well. So it's all actually a magnetic lock. So you have that signature hardware detail right there, and then it opens up with a little magnet, and then same for the second flap as well. It's incredibly clever, the construction of it. Like, it really is beautiful. You do also have a huge pocket on the back as well, so if you're into your organization, like, there is a lot in this bag. And it's just so unbelievably chic. It is very smushy in like the best way. The leather is just such nice quality, and it just looks and feels like a bag that would cost you multiple thousands, and you're getting it for a fraction of that price. So as you can tell, I'm a little bit excited by this bag launch. They do have quite a few different styles, so I will go ahead and link the whole bag landing page so you can check them all out. But this is an amazing way to get really high-end designers designing some beautiful bags and accessories at a fraction of the cost, and I could not be more thrilled with the quality. Like, it really is just so beautiful. All the detailing and how thoughtful the actual bag construction is. It's just absolutely amazing, and I'm just so incredibly excited about this launch. Fabrique also have a ton of different offers on at the moment, so I will pop the details for that on screen in the description section if you did want to check anything out. So the second truth is, when you strip away the logos and the label, luxury dressing really comes down to just three things: the cut, the fabric, and the finish. If you get those three things right, it will be very difficult to go wrong, and no matter what you choose in terms of the actual styling of the garment, it's going to look much more luxurious than your cheaper counterparts, or even some of the more expensive pieces that just miss the mark on those three elements. Fit, I would say, is probably the most important of all those different elements, and really what differentiates a lot of luxury clothing from their more cheaper counterparts. Cheaper clothing tends to just be sewn together off a pattern, and the brands just kind of hope for the best when it comes to fitting the most number of people. Whereas when you get much more expensive clothing, there's really a lot more architecture involved, so a lot of thought and planning goes into the actual fit, the drape, and the movement of the product. So they're not just kind of thrown together, but they're really modeled on fit models and looked at different angles to see how it drapes and moves and flows. And that's really the difference that you're going to see when it comes to much more expensive clothing. Things aren't just thrown together and, you know, they hope for the best. Things are really planned meticulously, looked at different angles, and really constructed to have the most flattering and most elegant fit possible. So when it comes to looking at clothes which don't cost a fortune but looks like they might, you're really going to want to prioritize fit, but also the drape and the movement of the clothes and how they hold their shape. You'll notice that if you get a cheaper sweater, even if it feels very nice, they're going to be much more likely to lose their shape quickly. Maybe the elbows get a little bit baggy, or it gets a little bit misshapen, and that's because there isn't a lot of structural integrity when it comes to the fabric and also the cut. So you're going to want to make sure that the items actually hold their shape, and then when you kind of move with them, and always I'd say look at the side view, not just the front and the back when trying clothes on, you're going to want to make sure that you drape really beautifully and just move in a very elegant way. And the side point is a really crucial one, because true luxury high quality clothing flatters in motion, not just front on or from the back. So you're going to want to look at the side to see how it actually moves with you, as opposed to just kind of clinging to you when you shift a little bit. Make sure you actually move in front of the mirror. Don't just stand head on or strike a pose and be still. Make sure you're moving, look at yourself from different angles, see if the fabric actually moves in a nice way and it actually fits and flatters rather than clings. And of course, the tailoring. This is a classic one, and a number one reason why a lot of the common advice is to get pieces tailored when you're not sure of the fit, which is a great example, but tailoring also isn't particularly cheap anyway. So if you can get the fit right in store, even better. And then you really want to look at the different seams and see how it actually hugs your body in. Depending on the kind of fit that you're going for, good tailoring should ultimately create a very nice silhouette and instantly create a streamlined look, as opposed to having lumps and bumps and looking a little bit misshapen. So it's actually pretty easy to find a beautiful tailored piece because so much is apparent in the silhouette. And as long as you have a kind of macro view of that, it's actually surprisingly easy to spot the items which look way more expensive than they are, rather than you can kind of tell they're a little bit cheaper around the edges. The next point is fabric quality, and the truth is that you can feel luxury before you can see it. Luxurious and high quality fabric just feels completely different from even the most soft synthetic materials. They also tend to be better lasting and also more functional as well. A really great quality cashmere is going to be so much warmer than any synthetic blend that you can buy on the high street, and that's really what you're paying the money for. The golden rule here is natural fibers do tend to rule. So here we're talking about wools and cashmeres, silks and linen blends. Those tend to be the highest quality, which is why a lot of the luxury fashion houses tend to prioritize working with them. It's going to be rare that you're going to find a very high quality garment that is relying on a synthetic blend. Not to say that there isn't a place for those in your wardrobe. I have a lot of them, and some of my favorite pieces are synthetic blends. But if you're going for the highest quality item, then you're going to want to focus on those more natural fabrics. And here you're going to want to rely on the touch test. I would really recommend trying to get a feel for as many of the type of fabrics or leather types that you're interested in as possible. I have bought hundreds of bags in my time, and I can very easily identify a higher quality leather versus a cheaper leather now just by feeling it within a few seconds, because I've actually felt that many. So I would definitely say, even if you're an online shopper like I am, I still think it's worthwhile to go into a store to get familiar with different leather types, because you do get a feel for it over time, and that's true with clothing as well. So really luxurious, high quality fabrics will feel very soft to the touch. They'll almost have a silky feel depending on what you're going for, whereas anything too plasticky or a bit stiff is going to be a much more cheaper and inferior quality fabric. And the finish is something you can pay attention to as well. So a matte fabric or something that's just softly lustrous is always going to read more expensive than an overly shiny synthetic material. And the next point to remember is that the devil is in the details. And here I'm talking about all those things that you might not notice upon first glance that you really kind of have to look closely at. So we're talking the seams, the button quality, the lining as well. All these things really give hints as to how a garment is constructed and how luxurious the overall effect and the individual item is. So if you're getting a nice heavyweight quality button that is sewn on nicely, that's a really good indicator. Similarly, if a piece is lined, that's a very good sign. And even looking at the seams to see if everything is neatly stitched, and also the hems as well, looking to see if there are any red flags or anything that looks a little bit out of the ordinary. It's worth doing that little check, because those little details actually really speak to the overall quality of the item. That said, I did want to make a little note about lining, because I think lots of people think it's the blanket rule that if a garment isn't lined, then it's going to be bad quality, and that simply isn't the case. So my S Max Mara coat is a great example of that. A lot of people say, gosh, I don't want to spend all that money on a coat that isn't even lined. But actually, S Max Mara coats and Max Mara coats don't need to be lined, because they have something called a double-faced construction. And the trick into identifying whether a coat has this or not is to look at the individual seams. So a double-faced construction actually means that you have two pieces of fabric that have been bonded together. So you actually have a lining on the inside, but it's the same fabric, so you don't actually recognize it as the lining. And that really means, especially when it comes to a wrap coat, that you get some beautiful drape, really lovely movement, and also extra warmth as well without relying on the linings. So a double-faced coat is not a sign of bad quality, completely the opposite actually. It means you're getting a very, very high quality garment, which is just beautifully constructed with a lot of attention to detail. So to sum up this video, if you focus in on cut, fabric, and finish, you won't need a logo to look expensive, because your items will do all the talking for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed all my tips and tricks. If you did, please do give this video a thumbs up. I will make sure to link everything in the description section. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.